A warm welcome back to the Forensic Detailing channel, guys. Do not forget to hit subscribe. So you've run out of screen wash, you go into your local Halfords store and you've got two main options to pick from. Which one's the best? We're going to attempt to answer that in this video. The first option, you usually see these stacked up in a pallet at the entrance because it's something everyone buys, is the Halfords ready to use, which is important, screen wash, berry scented, new and improved formula. Anti-smear formulation, cleans grime and insects, prevents winter jets from freezing, effective down to minus 10%. You effectively pour this into your screen washer reservoir and remove any screen wash spilt on the paintwork. Okay, so there's your only two instructions really, and there's some health and safety precautions there with the particular product, which is fine. Now, the next option you'll face if you go into the detailing aisle in kind of Halfords is the Autoglym Ultimate Screen Wash for safe, smear-free vision concentrate. It's effective to minus 45 degrees and can be diluted to produce 8 litres. So it's a dilutable concentrate. Let's just have a look. You should always use high-performance screen wash to avoid smeared screen at crucial moments. Okay. Ultimate Screen Wash is the perfect choice for all vehicle jet washers, including headlight washers. It shifts the common contamination and will not freeze down to minus 45. Then it gives you a concentration ratio. So its maximum dilution is 1 to 15, which will, in my head, gives you 500 times, that gives you 7.5 litres, doesn't it? Oh, roughly, I don't know. But it's only effective at -1 then, so perhaps in very severe winter conditions it could freeze or something like that. The optimum ratio, 1 to 9, works down to -3. Then you've got these other dilution ratios here, 1 to 4 for winter, 1 to 2 for severe winter, 1 to 1 for extreme winter, and then 1 to 0 for it's so cold the writing's frozen white, for I guess even more extreme, down to minus 45 degrees. Recommended for best performance in summer and spring or autumn above -3. So typically use it at this ratio. I've never gone beyond that, and I'll explain why. Then there's the health and safety stuff there, okay? I don't know. Oh, those star markers are for the frozen thing. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is price. The Halford products cost $7.99 for 5 litres, which will fill up most typical screen wash reservoirs. So £7.99 to load up your screen wash in your car. How long will it take you to get through 5 litres? You can do it in like a month if you're in winter conditions, but in summer, that can last you like 2 or 3 months. It just depends how long you're squirting. The Autoglym product, its standard ratio of 1 to 9, you'll get exactly 5 litres out of this 500ml bottle, and that will cost you £8.99. So the layman's answer is that the Autoglym product is £1 more expensive. But if you mix it down at 1 to 15, it actually costs you £6 to mix up 5 litres roughly. So it works out cheaper. So really, the bottom line is there's no significant difference in price. The problem is these dilution ratios down here, when if you're in a really freezing cold climate, like 1 to 1, that'll only get you a litre of product, and you can go through a litre of product very, very rapidly. You can literally envisage half a litre draining away as you're squirting the wiper jets. Using it neat wouldn't be a financial viable option for this retail sized offering because you just blast through it too much. So it's only really makes sense if you use this at 1 to 9 or 1 to 15 and above. The value proposition, I'm going to give it to Autoglym because at 1 to 15 it works out significantly cheaper, but you can swing it the other way if you want, that the other one's a quid cheaper. With all our reviews, we give you an alternative option. This is the screen wash I've been using for a few years. It's the Bonnyman's Extreme. It's an extreme concentrate that you mix at 2% ratio, so that would be about 100ml to 5 litres. A litre bottle of this extreme concentrate costs £2.50 without the delivery. 5 litres of it costs £10. So its cost per wash when you buy a litre is about 25p. To mix up 5 litres. So 25p to mix up 5 litres or £8 or potentially £9 roughly, to give you an idea. So that's why I've gone for the Bonnyman's, but the Bonnyman's is a bit kind of industrial, and you're not going to be able to get it instantly. The reason these are popular is when you run out of screen wash, you want to go and get it instantly. So we've covered price now. One advantage is that another advantage is that the Halfords product has that berry scent. The Autoglym product is unscented, and if you smell it, you get a smell of some of the alcohol solvents that were in it. Sometimes that smell can come through the cockpit when you're using the washer jets for any product, so it's nicer that it's got a berry scent, and I think the Autoglym product could benefit a little bit from a very mild scent, just because it's pleasant. They have an unscented version of this as well if you don't want to smell berries, or that isn't your thing. I think it's good that they've got the option. Okay, what are they like if you actually use these products, guys? Well, I've used both of these before now, and I've got a good idea on both of them. I will say this. The Autoglym product, the Halfords product, when you put it in neat like that or ready diluted, it's very strong and it has a really noticeable deep clean on the glass, and you can see it breaking down any oily films. The downside with the Halfords product is that it cleans the glass so well that on my Golf, where I tested it, after you've used it for a while and the washer jet goes off and it goes back to clean glass, it cleans it so well you get a little bit more squeaking out of the wiper blades. Indeed, the Autoglym product, after you've squirted it and stuff and you then got dry glass, it seems slightly less prone to making that creaking, squeaking noise. So it's not quite as, maybe it's got a balance of surfactants to alcohol solvents in it, that it's less prone for the wipers to kind of squeak on the glass. So in simple user experience, I would give it to the Autoglym, okay? The next thing, both these products suffer from a problem that they produce quite a lot of residue. They're both very rich, and when you use them, you notice the white kind of surfactant where as it's foaming up through the jet washer. When that sprays over and goes on your roof, you can see quite a lot of the residue of the products on the roof. Of course, if it's raining, that will get rinsed off, but sometimes you use these when it's not raining just to clear your windscreen. So they can both be a little bit rich. The Autoglym is exactly the same. You see all the kind of white surfactant material after you've been squirting it, building up in the kind of scuttle and stuff like that. With the Autoglym though, that problem becomes less when you use it at 1 to 15 compared to 1 to 9. If I wasn't doing a review and I was just using this normally, I would actually explore knocking this down to 1 to 20 and 1 to 25, where it's very mild. Yes, it might freeze, or the risk of it freezing in winter will be a bit higher. You still will generally be okay unless it's going to get really cold. But definitely in summer, I would knock this down to 1 to 25, no problems, and just had a milder experience. Again, with the Halfords, you could actually knock it down. Even like 50-50, if you put half of that in the summer and then mix half of it again with water, it's still powerful. Both of these are very powerful compared to when I use this at 2%. Perhaps a little bit too foamy for my personal taste, so that's something to consider. John, I have a glass sealant on my car. Which one of these is going to reduce the degradation of the hydrophobic effect of my glass sealant? It will make no difference. Both of them are powerful, but the degradation of your glass sealant is going to be, the biggest factor is the abrasion of the blade over that viewing area. That contact, that friction of the rubber on the glass wipes off and burns through any sealant quicker than surfactant sitting on there. That's why you see the arcs of hydrophilic and hydrophobic where the wiper blades haven't hit. So neither of these will have any measurable difference in my opinion. If I had to edge it, I'd give it to the Autoglym because it doesn't seem to be cleaning so deeply that it squeaks up the wiper blade, but that's a non-factor. In terms of pedigree, John, which one of these should I go for if I want the highest pedigree? Well, no disrespect to Halfords, they're an expert in supplying kind of parts for your cars, you know, oils, paints, car stereos, cleaning equipment, all sorts of stuff for cars. But Autoglym are chemical experts, you know, with chemists and, you know, do all this kind of research and development. They're surfactant experts. So Autoglym would win it on pedigree for me between the two, but you may well disagree with that. Which one should you go and buy, guys? Which ones would I buy? Well, it's very simple in my head. They're so close on price, it doesn't really matter. You would buy the Halfords if you run out of Screenwash and you're out and about and you've got visibility issues and you want to fix that straight away, and you can just pull into a Halfords, buy this and then load it straight into your car and throw that in the bin at Halfords. I'm sure they'll take the empty bottle. You'd go with that one, because the Autoglym one you'd have to mix out. The Halfords one also has an advantage that it will probably use a DI water or filtered water in its concentration, whereas this you're probably going to be using it with tap water, which could increase the risk of scaling. But again, with Autoglym's hard water scaling around your nozzles, with Autoglym's expertise, you'd think there might be some water softeners in this that would mitigate that. And indeed, I haven't seen any evidence to suggest that the Autoglym one is prone to using scale if you use it with hard water areas. So of the two, which ones would I buy? I would buy the Autoglym concentrate, and I'd run it about a 1:25, maybe even more diluted in the summer. And in the winter, I'd up the concentration to a little bit higher, just to reduce the risk of freezing. So I would buy either of these products if I was short on Screenwash. What I am looking for, though, the problem with the Autoglym is you still empty this bottle to make your 5 litres of Screenwash, and I go through 5 litres of Screenwash quite rapidly. So it becomes something you're constantly shopping for every month or every couple of months. You've got to remember to go and buy some Screenwash. When I buy an extreme concentrate and I get 100 ml per use, this mixes me 50 litres. So that sits in my garage, and I've never got to go out to the shops or anything, and that will last me like 5 years for £2.50. So what I'm looking for is something like the Bonnyman's, where if I've got a litre of it dosed out, it will last me years and years without me having to keep going shopping all the time, and I can do multiple cars with it. But I want something perhaps a little bit less industrial. I want the price of the Bonnyman's, but I kind of prefer the Autoglym. It's got the pedigree of the Autoglym. So that's where I am with this, guys. These Screenwashes will serve you well. They're very rich, they're very potent, and I would definitely knock them down a little bit in the summer. But you're in pretty good hands with both of these, and they're probably the widest sold Screenwashes in the country, and they work. The only reason not to use them is if you're really into price and cost per wash, like an idiot like me, and you figured you could really save a lot of money. But it's all down to you. Both these products will all get used, and they will do a good job. One thing I didn't cover is, what are Screenwashes? Well, the majority of that bottle is going to be water. That's going to be the main thing in there. There's going to be some surfactant. There's going to be a little coolant, antifreeze kind of stuff to stop that going like a block of ice in extreme conditions. I believe there's alcohol solvents in these, some form of alcohol solvents for that deep degreasing with the surfactant. So there's obviously a little bit of scent, and I think there might be some water softeners and stuff like that in there as well. And beyond that, I'm not too sure. So hope this was useful. Let me know what you buy. Do not forget to subscribe. With Screenwash, could you go all forensic on these and do loads and loads of tests? Yes, you could, but I don't think you need to. I think the deciding factor for me would be price and what you're getting, and I'd be more than happy with either of these, really. But going forward, I'm going to be looking for an extreme concentrate that's perhaps slightly less industrial than the Bonnyman's, but still offers me value for money. So hope that's all fair. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when